right now by Doyle, who is on the Auburn Hills City Council, and she's the author of Powering Up: How American Women Achievers Can Become Leaders. Thanks for being on the show today, Ann.
Well, you're welcome, and welcome to Auburn Hills, Tim, one of my favorite restaurants here.
Well, we're glad to be here. Now, tell us a little bit about what inspired you to write this book.
Well, I have been tested, I guess, in some pretty interesting leadership laboratories. I was a television sports broadcaster helping to open locker rooms. I was at Ford Motor Company. I ran for office. And so people used to tell me, Ann, you know, you should write a book. But I always knew that it shouldn't just be about me. And I really put my journalist hat on, and I went looking for the story and about what's going on with women today. And really the story is that we have become this nation of high-achieving women in the United States, but we are leadership underachievers. And so basically I wrote the book to say, okay, if you're a high-achieving woman, that's great. Here's the graduate work. Here's what you need to do next in order to lead. And I want lots of women pouring into leadership.
Right. Now, you talk about 3 mistakes that women often make when it goes to escalating themselves from being achievers to leaders. Can you tell us about those 3 mistakes?
Well, I think you're talking about the 3 mistakes in terms of, there's a chapter called Why Girls Don't Rule.
Right.
And those are the mistakes that women make in terms of undermining ourselves and one another.
Okay.
There are skills that someone who's high achieving has to master in order to become a leader. But the mistakes you're talking about are 3 things that I call it the tribe divide.
Okay.
And that's about women not supporting other women. I mean, men have understood for many years the importance of the Good Old Boys Network. Women have to learn that. The other I call the color divide, and that's a lot of mistrust between white women and women of color. We got to get over that and start really working together better. And the other is the mother divide, and that's a very hot issue about women who perhaps have dedicated themselves only to their career, and then women who are, you know, trying to do both, or women who have chosen to stay home with their children and then trying to get back in. A lot of complex stuff women are struggling with.
Right. And what are some of the tips you give in the book about how you can move forward in your career or in your life in regards to becoming more of a leader?
Well, there are 7 practices in this book that I say are really the graduate work in terms of, you know, if you think you're leadership material and you've mastered the fundamentals, well then, the very first one is discover your purpose. You know, and that's the whole huge mindset that shifts you from it's all about me to it's all about we.
Okay.
And that's the passion. Another one is raise your voice. Women have been finding our voices for a couple of decades now. It's time for more women to start raising their voices.
Right.
Claim power. Nobody's going to give you power. You have to go after it.
Right.
Another one is get back in the saddle. You know, that's about, hey, when you get knocked down and fail, everybody gets knocked down and fail, but it's how fast you get back up there and get back into the fray. That's very, very important. So those are a couple of them.
Okay. Now, you interviewed 125 successful women. Can you tell us a few highlights from those interviews?
I interviewed the most incredible women, and these women were of all professions. I worked very hard for them to be of all different cultures, 3 different generations of high-achieving women, and from corporate, from the military,
In fact,
entrepreneurs.
one of the military women, aren't they, leader in Libya right now?
Exactly. One of the women that I interviewed, Commander General Maggie Woodward, who commands the 17th Air Force, she is now the military commander in charge of the U.S. air operations over Libya right now. So that's the caliber of incredible women that I interviewed for this book.
And what were some of the tidbits of advice that the General gave you when you interviewed her?
Well, you know, one of the things that she talked about very strongly was about communication skills. And she said to me, you know, I tell my troops that you can have all the vision in the world, but if you can't inspire people and communicate to people well, nobody's going to be following you. And so she had some very powerful things to say about communication skills and the ability to inspire people to follow you. Because, you know, if you're leading all by yourself, you're not a leader.
Right.
You know, a leader has to be able to get other people to trust them and to believe in them and to be able to inspire people.
Right. So I have a 2-year-old daughter. I'm sure there's people in the audience who have daughters who are in elementary school, junior high, college, high school. What are some things that we should be teaching our daughters now to help them be leaders?
Well, that's great because, you know, this book is not just for women. It's for fathers, it's for husbands and people working with high-achieving women. But one of the things that you can do, the most important thing you can do as a father, is to build confidence in your daughter very, very young. Because we know from research that it usually takes women about 10 years longer than males to figure out how good they are. So confidence is absolutely essential.
If there's one thing you would want someone who reads your book to come away with, what would that be?
Well, I basically say every woman for herself is a losing strategy. Women, really, we are on a very steep learning curve when it comes to leadership. I mean, men have been bred for leadership for centuries. We are brand new at this. We were blocked out of it for a long time. We're brand new. We have got to understand that we have to help one another in the way that, you know, men in the Good Old Boys Network have understood for years. And so it's women have got to encourage other women to lead and to dare to lead themselves.
And you know, if there's any one thing that someone could do to get above that hurdle, what would that be?
Well, I'm all about taking risks and claiming power. You know, I like to say that American women are kind of like these dazzling wallflowers. You know, we're all dressed up and we're tapping our toes to the leadership music. We're hoping somebody's going to invite us to the dance. And I say, nobody's going to invite you to the leadership dance. You have to invite yourself.
Exactly.
And women have to invite themselves, and they have to really encourage other women too, because we're on a learning curve here.
And a big part of that, like you said, is confidence and making sure
It's
you
huge.
have that confidence to take the next step forward in your career, your personal life, and not feel scared to take a chance, right?
Well, you've run for office. I mean, I really want more women to run for office. There is this perception that women are already leading in the United States, and that's not the truth at all. The fact is that women hold an average of only 18% of the leadership positions in every work sector. And one of the biggest things that women can do is run for office, because that's such a visible leadership role.
And congratulations on your successful run and your position with the Auburn Hills City Council.
Somebody finally said to me, well, you tell everybody else to run, why don't you run yourself, Ann? And so I finally did, and I really enjoy it, and I believe I can make a contribution, and Auburn Hills is a great community, and I hope people come out to this restaurant.
Great. Now, if someone wants to purchase Powering Up, where can they get the book?
Yes, you can get it through my website. My website is AnnDoyleStrategies.com. It's very simple. And if they buy it through my website, I'll sign it for them. They're all signed. They can also get it through Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. And we'll be doing book signings around Hiller's Markets, actually, is going to start selling the book.
Well, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you very much, Tim.